If you are like my parents, you are probably about to retire and you cannot wait to enjoy it. But before you do, you need to make sure that you're not going to run out of money or you're not going to go insurance broke by not knowing what the heck Medicare is going to cost you. So in this video, we're going to go over Medicare, the term, the line, what is Medicare going to cost me, how it's not just so simple, but I will try to make it that way. Let's get into it. All right, so here's what I mean by simple. The term, well, what's Medicare costs? Well, what exactly are we talking about? What parts are we talking about? Like, the whole alphabet soup, A, B, parts A, B, C, and D. And then you kind of maybe have heard your friend or family member have plan G or N, and what is all that going to cost me? So we're going to get into that. And I don't want this video to be any longer than 10 minutes because this is probably the only amount of time that you have to spare today to get to it, because you're probably still working, but you still need to plan, right? The whole 3 months before, the month of, and the 3 months after your birthday, you've got that time to enroll in Medicare, but what's it going to cost me? So let's get into it. And just for later, in the description below, there is a full length webinar available to you for free. I run it every week, so check that out if you want to get into the details of it. As far as the costs that we're going to be talking about, I'm going to first start with the foundation, which is Part A and Part B of Medicare. This is not a video to go into what it covers and what it doesn't. We're just talking numbers here. So Part A is going to be for about, I maybe in my entire career only ran across one person who doesn't qualify for Part A. And then we never talked again because she found out how much it was. But you more than likely have been working your entire life, 40 quarters or 10 years. That's what it translates to. You need to have that logged in order for Part A to be $0 free. So Part B is where we start to writing some numbers down. Okay, so Part B is going to be, and I'm filming this in 2024, $174.70. Now, no matter if you go into a Medicare Advantage, no matter if you go into a Medicare supplement, this is the common denominator. So I don't want to say get used to it, but that's all there is to it. I know you can complain about it later, but yeah, it's 174.70. Last year is 164.90. I have no idea what next year is going to be. Chances are yeah. So after Part A and Part B, in order to not get penalized, you also need a Part D plan. D as in dog, which is going to be the plan premium if you don't have an IRMAA surcharge, and we're going to get into that. The plan premium of whatever plan you choose. Okay, so just to recap, Part A, 0. Part B, 174.70. And then your drug plan is the premium of whatever plan you get into, Advantage plan or standalone drug plan on a Medicare supplement side. Let's get into that funny word I just said, IRMAA. That pay attention. If I could run sirens in the background, I could. These are the only two parts that are affected by your income, by how much money you make. And this surcharge looks back 2 years at your tax returns. So I'm going to pull that up right now. This is from the website cms.gov. This is called a IRMAA surcharge. IRMAA, I always forget. Okay, here we go. Income related monthly adjustment amounts. Okay, since 2007, a beneficiary's Part B monthly premium has been based on his or her income. And they are based on either an individual tax return or a joint tax return. So let's look at the full chart. This is how you read it. If you're single, ready to mingle, you're in this column. If you got a spouse in the house, you're running in this column. Okay. And then this is your adjustment amount, and then a grand total at the very end. So let's go through it. So if you're single and you're like, yeah, listen, I made some good money. I said, I'm going to ask you, well, did you make less than 103,000 or more? And you're like, ooh, girl, I wish I made over 103,000. These are like actual conversations I have. I love you guys. You're fun. You're such a fun generation. I wish mine was as fun as yours. So, okay, 103,000, and you make less than that. Then your grand total is 174.70 for your Part B. Now, let's just say I asked you again, and I'm sticking with the single, ready to mingle guy or gal, and you're like, yeah, I make some money, and I'm like, well, how much do you think ballpark? And you're like, around 150. Okay, well, you fit in this bracket here. So if we go to the right, 174.70 is added in addition to the base amount 174.70, which equals 349.40. Okay, so if you got a spouse in the house and you guys are both on speakerphone with me, you're like, what the heck is Medicare going to cost me? And I said, well, how much y'all make? And and you're like, yeah, we make some money. We both maybe we sold a property. And I said, well, it was that in 2022. If we're speaking in 2024, and you're like, yeah, we sold a property, and we got some money, and you say amount of about 400,000. Well, you're fitting into this bracket here, which means your adjustment amount is this in addition to 174.70, which equals 559 dollars per person. Okay. Uh, I don't want to be annoying, but wait, that's not all. Okay. There's one more part. I told you there's two parts. So we're gonna scroll down to Part D, and I will share my screen with you right now. Same kind of thinking here. So same bracket again is defined by individual or joint. Find your bracket, and this is in addition to the base premium, which is $0. Like I said earlier, your drug plan cost is going to be the amount of your plan. Well, this is in addition to that plan. So if you're sitting here, you're like, no, my wife and I we're blessed with lots of happiness, but we're also blessed with just a very modest income. Okay, under 206,000. Then if you go into a Medicare Advantage plan, most of them being $0, well, you're not going to need to pay. Your drug plan is going to be $0 because it's baked into the Medicare Advantage plan. If you're like, well, we went with a supplement, we need to purchase a couple of drug plans, and those plans that I've quoted you are $15, then what you pay is the $15. All right. And nothing else added. Now, if you fell into this category here and you're saying, well, I joined a Medicare Advantage plan, well, you're going to pay that plus your surcharge, $53.80. If you joined that $15 drug plan because you went with a Medicare supplement, well, you're going to pay that $15 drug plan plus the adjusted amount, the income related adjusted amount. My main point that I wanted to make with this is when you guys are sitting at your round table or you're at the Y or whatever you're doing, you're mingling like y'all love to do. I've got FOMO, fear of missing out. I've definitely got it in y'all's conversations. But when you're throwing around these numbers, get specific. Don't just say, well, I don't pay anything for my Medicare. Well, sorry, doesn't make sense. What exactly are you talking about? What do you mean you don't pay anything? You don't pay anything for Part A? Well, that's expected. Most Americans don't. Part B, you've got the 174.70 coming out of your Social Security check, or it's getting billed to you every 3 months. So 174.70, multiply that times three. That's what's going to come to you if you're not taking your Social Security. All right. Well, that's not $0. Or are you talking about your $0 Medicare Advantage plan, which still got to pay the 174.70? Is it really $0? No. Okay. So, or is it the fact that you're on Medicaid and the state is paying for your plan? Nothing is free. We have freedom in America, but but that's a different. I'm going to get long-winded here. Okay, my main point is when you guys are talking amongst yourself, you say, "Okay, what do you mean you don't pay anything for your drug plan or for your Medicare? What kind of plan do you have in addition to original Medicare? Is it a Medicare Advantage? Is it a Medicare supplement? Oh, it's a Medicare supplement. Which plan do you have? Do you have plan G? Do you have a plan N? And of course, y'all may not know these terms like I do. There's word vomiting out of my mouth. That's because I do this 12 times a day. But if you were making a decision based on your circle of influence, please make sure that they know exactly what they're talking about. If not, hook up with your local agent, message me, get a hold of me. You can drop me a comment and I'll try to get in touch with you. Like I said, there's a full length webinar that goes over these specific scenarios. What's it going to cost if I go with an Advantage plan? What's it going to cost if I go with a supplement? And then just what are the basics of Medicare and what do those cost? So get educated. That's why I have this channel and I make these videos for you. Hopefully you got a lot of out of this. Subscribe, please. If you got something out of it, give it a like and obviously drop a comment. I want to speak with you. I'm tired of speaking to this camera. I feel like I'm speaking to myself. I feel like that. So holler back and let me know what you think. All right. See you next time.